People deluded. Manchester City 3, Arsenal 1. And yeah, man, this is why I tell you, lot, I typically watch games twice because I don't know what to make of it, man. On one hand, I wouldn't say completely outclassed, but outclassed. You can see the class above the two teams. You can see where they're at, even on a worst day with Manchester City. Because on one hand, if I'm Pep, I wouldn't necessarily think my team has been faultless, but they were still classes above us. But on the other hand, and we had a defeative attitude, but on the other hand, it was probably one of the better performances we put in against City, definitely away from home or against anyone, really, the top six away from home. And I'm lying about that. But yeah, man, we got pumped all in all. What can I say? I'm sure most fans going into the game, you had a small glimmer of hope, but you knew realistically we were gonna lose. We were gonna lose today. You had a small glimmer of hope because you were just hoping that, considering United scraped through Leicester, obviously the other teams have taken their points, that we could get something out. We could get something out of this, but it wasn't to be. No real shocks over the lineup. To be honest with you, probably a Wobie starting ahead of Aaron Ramsey for me personally. I personally would have went with Jenkinson, and in hindsight, everyone and their nan is gonna say that. But Jenkinson at right back, not too many other things other than that. Xhaka, Mkhitaryan, and Maitland-Niles didn't travel with the side. Ozil's there, but Ozil's clearly just in the team just to shut up possibly any questions in regards to his future, at least until the summer. Going into the game, obviously City as well had Fernandinho at centre half and what's his name, Laporte on the left hand side. So they had a bit of changes, but start literally first second. This is why you have to start off games good at home when our fans are there. Or no disrespect to my Arsenal man, but we know the Emirates can be very quiet. This is where you have to be able to deal with noisy atmospheres, because City fans, there's not many of them. I gotta have digs. We lost people. They got behind their players, and it just looked like maybe again the players have to shut out the noise. But maybe all the talk on social media and people like myself saying not really giving us a chance, maybe that kind of filtered through to the players, or they believed that themselves. Literally the first 30 seconds it looked like a 4-4-2, you could say, but it looked more like a 4-1-4-1 in that the four defenders, Guendouzi in front, four attackers, and then not a Aubameyang slightly in front, and Lacazette dropping in. Obviously, at times you saw it as essentially 10-11 men behind the ball, two strikers, and it was a defeative attitude. You have to, away games, you have to be switched on from the first moment. And many a times we weren't switched on. We conceded a goal within the first 30 seconds, 40 seconds, whatever. I think it might have even been no more than 48 is what it is technically is. Failing to clear our lines initially. Like I said, we're nervous. In the build-up to it, a bit of our players are playing hot potato. Iwobi, I don't know what he's doing on the edge of his area. Our players assume that because Iwobi's got the ball now, we're out of it and we can start an attacking phase. Koscielny and etc., not to name drop Koscielny because I think he was alright, vacated the defensive space. Ball comes in. Obviously, Koscielny and Monreal have no awareness of where Sergio is, and it's 1-0. And yeah, he's got a terrific record against Arsenal, and he continues that. And City are fighting for the league with Liverpool, give or take. We need to remember, as much as I'm an Arsenal fan, City are trying to keep up with Liverpool. They've got their own question marks. Very early on as well, you could see it, and I knew that Lichtsteiner and Iwobi was going to be in trouble, because for me, Iwobi was poor today, not because of the mistake. The mistake could happen to anyone. He has to hold his hands up. For me, he didn't do his job tracking his runner, and I think Lichtsteiner, I think it's because he's lost his pace. He thinks that just because you overcover and get close to your centre half, that you've done your job. You're leaving way too much space. That all of our goals come from the same hand side. All of the goals were essentially identical. That's what I believe happened anyways. Very early on, you could see I can't remember the other winger, but Raheem Sterling and whoever was on the other flank for City, together with their fullbacks, they were making it wide, creating 1v1s, getting nice little 1-2s down either side. And they had the beating of our fullbacks and our men, don't get it twisted. But what was more dangerous is that obviously they're stretching the pitch and they're making runs. The players that are smaller and shorter and things like that have plenty of space to run in behind. Gundogan, forgive me if I'm wrong, was exploiting that terrifically today. Kevin De Bruyne definitely as well. Sergio with his runs for the goals. That was becoming an issue. And you're looking at Lichtsteiner, you're thinking, you ain't got the legs, because they're just breezing past him. And for me, the big one is he's too slow to close people down and he's covering too much. I get it. If I was getting towards the end of my career, I would do that. But the tempo in the Premier League is far too high. Admittedly, probably, I don't know how we got back into the game, to be honest with you. It was a nice little play to earn the corner with Kola. Kola earned the corner. Obviously, Torreira put the ball in. Monreal kept it alive. And Koscielny, Costa Boss, who actually obviously weren't perfect today, but was one of the better players. It's 1-1. At that point, I don't know how we got back in this game. I still think we're going to get slapped, but it is what it is. And I must admit, after the first 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes, I wouldn't say we settled. Probably we saw it more in the when we got to the half-hour mark. You saw more phases of play, but I'd say City kind of took their foot off the gas a little bit, and we were allowed to get a little bit of play. I'd say we still played with a defeated attitude. We spent large periods of the first half, in fact, the whole game, first half in our own half, chasing the ball, and it took a lot out of us. On one hand, we know we're getting on a bit with the season and things like that, but at the start of the season, we were praising how much these guys run. It's games like this that you shouldn't really see fatigue come half time, but that's for another day. We're running, we're staying compact. I feel sorry for Aubameyang and Lacazette because we're not really trying to get anything going of meaning offensively apart from Guendouzi, and it's just not one of their games. For Lacazette, he's tracking back. It's just one of them games he's gonna have to fight. Aubameyang just gonna be fighting for scraps, and even in the second half, you could see him kind of throw his hands up, not because of bad attitude, but he was resigned to the fact that it wasn't just it weren't happening for them. Like City were getting moves up and down up and all over the place. The only benefit for me I could see is that I did feel City were there on the counter attack at times. Man, you look at there was one time Iwobi done the right thing. He won the ball and he released it quickly. 2-3 passes. We were on the break. Even when we earned the corner for the 1-1, there was an incident where Lacazette did the same as well. But beyond that, we're not really troubling City. And if we're gonna get back into the game, similar to goal we conceded, it's City causing their own issues and overcomplicating things for themselves. City are having a bag of half chances. I feel Sterling's having a good game. For me, we're allowing them to cut in way too much. Bernardo Silva, David Silva, they're doing their thing. Most people would have known that. There's really not much more to say. You would have essentially seen all of that. 34th minute again, just on the basis of them probably creating their own errors. Lacazette, I'm sure he played a lovely ball into Aubameyang, but Ederson, fair play, was quick off his line. Now you're thinking, all right, cool, it's 1-1. Maybe we go into half time with something. On one hand, you could say we don't deserve it. On one hand, you could say we do, because City took their foot off the gas. And like I said, it's a weird game because on one hand I think we're playing quite atrocious, but on the other hand I think we're doing alright, definitely by Arsenal standards, and at least I could see what Unai is trying to do in terms of playing, and I don't really fault him today, to be fair with you. In some incidences, yeah, but is what it is. I feel Guendouzi and Torreira, they're being overloaded in midfield as a result of the spaces being opened up because of wide areas, what they're doing in wide areas. I feel they're fighting, they're doing what they can in it. And half time you're thinking we're going to go in there, but similar to how you start the game, when the game's coming to a close, you need to switch on, and we've invented our own mistakes essentially again. Again, it's from the right hand side. This time Lichtsteiner and Iwobi between them, neither man is closing people down. People are not following runners. Sterling, I think, was it Sterling? I can't, for people, I watched the game again. You guys know I do the tactical thing, but between Laporte and Sterling, they both set up goals in the first half. It's a ball comes in, and again Sergio's got an open net, and it, on one hand, from a neutral's point of view, it's a lovely move from City. Like, I was torn in two minds. Like, obviously I'm an Arsenal fan, I love my club, but it was a lovely move. Like, it was a lovely move. But on the other hand, you can see things happen, and that's one criticism of us. Like, we invent our own goals. Like I said, it was a lovely move, but by the same token, these are cheap goals for us to concede, especially in a big game. As much as I know the focus is on City and keeping the pack up with Liverpool, but if we're trying to get top four, winning this will go a long way, especially because Spurs clawed through yesterday. Yes, Spurs are ahead of us, but they clawed through yesterday. United took points against Leicester. These things are becoming more and more important. Chelsea obviously back to winning ways as well. Like I said, we're having half chances. Don't get it twisted. City probably unlucky not to have a couple more throughout the first half. Mad saves from Leno here and there. I must say, people, and I will admit, for all a couple good stops from Leno, I do think he invites a lot of pressure by his passing, miscommunication in the first and second half with his back line. At times doing spectacular saves where you don't really need to, and I'm sure on more than one occasion punching balls or a bit nervy in his collecting. But it is what it is, man. City, bar the occasional patches of probably being a bit complacent, they deserve to go in ahead. We haven't had that many chances. Bar the occasional, I know, I think Lacazette and Torreira had efforts that were blocked, but we didn't really create anything meaningful for Ederson to save. Kohler in the first half had a couple opportunities, but there weren't really anything meaningful. The only positive I can say is that like I said, it's a better performance than not really a praise thing to be saying that, but it's a better performance against City than I expected. We kind of patterned up. We shot ourselves in the foot, sadly conceding a goal in the 43rd minute. But that little half-hour passage or 30-minute passage from the 13th minute mark was from the 30th minute mark was probably our best bit of play in the game. First little time where we really had sustained amount of pressure, switching the ball either flank and getting nice little bits of play and all of these sort of things there. And at half time, all I'm thinking is, obviously we're still in this at a time. There's a draw we could get. I still think we could get some. I wouldn't say we can get something out of the game because City will win this. But if there's some positive, encouraging signs if we are to get something out of the game. I feel the right hand side have let Unai Emery down. I feel again, whether I agree with it or not, there was a clear way of playing today. And even though I feel it was a bit too rigid, bit too narrow, bit too respectful of City and chasing too many shadows, I could see it. I thought he was let down by the right hand side. It will be in Lichtsteiner between them. Two cheap goals as I've already said. I feel City have been cut open, but we haven't had any chances. We haven't taken our chances. By the same stroke of that, we're lucky not to be completely out of this game because City are cutting us open at will, and we knew what this was going to be. I feel for me, if I had to pick out players in particular, I know Koscielny was a bit nervy, and you could say he had a hand in the first goal we conceded, but I feel Koscielny, Torreira, and Guendouzi are the standout players for me in particular. I feel as well, you could see I didn't feel Monreal was being helped out a lot because Kohler was giving us a lot offensively, but at times he was getting sucked in field, becoming a bit narrow, even though he was a left wing or an additional fullback sort of thing, and that was just again aiding with creating 1v1s for 2v1s, 1v1s for Monreal because the opposition fullback don't really have nothing to do. Like I said, man, first 15 minutes was probably the toughest. We're at 6s and 7s, and we've paid for our poor start to the game. Now, second half wasn't much better. You could, admittedly, people, I think, and I don't know how much sense it makes, but it looked like the first performance in the first half in terms of chasing the ball and just a lot of doggy work took it out of the boys. They just looked completely done for in the second half, sorry. And we didn't, forgive me if I'm wrong, we had little bits of play, especially in my opinion when Ramsey came and we tried a bit more, but it didn't really create anything of note. I can't remember an effort too much, and it was just all City in my opinion. They were just running through us essentially. And it's another easy goal to concede down the right hand side. Eventually, when they went and got it, whenever it came, that's the only meaningful thing from Arsenal's point of view in the second half. Man, we were just obviously we chased the game a bit. We got men forward a tiny bit more. Like there was an incident. I can't remember. I think it was early on in the second half. Sorry, I saw Kohler, Iwobi, Lacazette, and Aubameyang all in the opposition's box. First half, that wasn't happening on too many occasions. But like we were out of it, man. We were out of it, and for the third goal again, just switching off, It's too easy for Sterling to get down that hand side from Iwobi. Iwobi is beaten too easily. Again, we're not chasing men backwards and things like that. Yes, it's a handball. It's clearly a handball, and the ref really didn't do us any favors with that. But it is what it is, man. The build up to this, like. Again, on one hand, ultimately, people, it was a poor performance. But on the other hand, I'm not actually that mad, because we would have lost this. Again, I'm not happy to say 3-1, but if someone offered me 3-1, definitely with some of Arsenal's performances in general over the last couple of years, specifically last time we went away to a top 6 club in the league, I would have taken this, man. I can't really, I'm not really mad, but I'm mad. It's just because it's a case of what it could have been. I don't think we could have won. I just feel we could have given ourselves better credentials, man. But as non-biased, as looking at it without emotion, again, it would look like a 4-4-2. To me, it was a 4-1-4-1 of sorts. There was a clear way of playing. Yes, it was defeative. Yes, it was rigid. And ultimately, it didn't really aid our case in getting any creativity or any efforts for our strikers. We shot ourselves in the foot just before half-time, after half-time, and probably what was the last goal conceded in the last 20 minutes of the game. So we got shown a difference, or a masterclass by City in the difference between us and them in terms of game management, creating opportunities, how to start the game, importantly how to finish the game. And that's me actually being generous to City, and it's testament to their quality, because if I'm Pep, yes, it's a 3-1 win. It gets them back on track. It gets people stopping, at least for this week, with the nonsense about them v Liverpool and who's going to win the league and them things there. But it could have went against another opposition or against another side, or if we did certain things, it could have went the other way, especially when they got a bit complacent and dropped off. Ultimately, it must have been a great game for the neutrals, but all we can do is lick our wounds and go again, man. 3 o'clock on Saturday, forgive me if I'm wrong, we've got Huddersfield Town. Like I said, man, there's no time to feel sorry for us. Most Arsenal fans expected us to lose, thought we would lose, myself included, so how can we really sit here and say anything different? People, deluded, thank you for watching and them things there, but I'm out.